Hello and welcome to the brand new Houlihan's Wire powered by Jostle. If you're seeing this video, then you've already logged in. But in the future, please always use the login on the left. Don't try to use a Google ID or your work ID. Jostle works best in Google Chrome, Firefox, or Internet Explorer 9. If you're not using one of these browsers, you may get an initial warning that Jostle won't work as well. Close this message and ask to never see it again. Most of our restaurants use IE8 and our Jostle features will work just fine. The first screen you'll see is the News view. We'll come back to that in a moment. To really understand the power of Jostle and the impact it will make at Houlihan's, you first got to understand the people. In the People view, you see beautiful pictures of everyone who works for HRI or has access to the wire. The stars indicate that the person is an external contributor, like a franchisee or a consultant. The green teardrop indicates that person is online. When you hover your mouse over someone here, you get a snapshot of who they are and their role in the company. You can click through to see more about them. So for example, when I go to Maggie Field, I can see a snapshot of what she's responsible for. I can also see her contact info, a bio that she's written about herself, and her contributions, the way she fits into the company. When you click on yourself, you have the option to change your photo, add a bio, edit your contributions, and your info. These contributions are important because they're searchable by other users. So, if you're in People and you want to know who's responsible for Stereotech, you can search it. When you search Stereotech, Murray Michenhaus comes up. Or, if you want to know who to call about, say, wood stain, all you have to do is search for wood stain. And Kurt Tenneman pops up. For support center employees specifically, it's really important to keep your contributions current to help the field know who to call about various subjects. You can sort people by concept, by location, or you can play around with various views. Now let's go to Teams. Teams helps you understand our organizational structure. Who works for who is the GM of which restaurant, and which ROD oversees which locations. You'll notice that each general manager is responsible for a restaurant. Assistant managers and chefs share this login, just as they do now. To make the site more personal, we suggest each restaurant take a photo of their management team to replace the image of the building. It will help to put faces with names and make interaction more natural. From this view, you can left-click and go to view somebody's profile. We've also added the accounting coordinator structure here. So you have the ability to add more special assignments in the future. I can click on Amanda and see which restaurant she services. Finally, Teams and Committees. You can click here to get a better understanding of who is on specific teams within the office. If you have a question or comment for the team, you can click Email Team. Do note that this feature is only available to people with their email client on their computer. It won't work if you log into email remotely. Now back to news. As you can see, Jostle displays our news visually and has photo and video capabilities built right in. We can distinguish important news by making it a featured article, right here in red. Click anywhere on the image to read an article. The newest news is in the top left corner and reads left to right. Older news is pushed down in the feed. At the top of an article, you can see who published it or who is responsible for the information. To the right, you can like it or you can print. Within the body copy, you'll find links to important supporting information. But here's what's new, and what will be most critical to improving communication using Jostle. If you find yourself with questions about something you read on the wire, we want you to post them here. Chances are, if you have a question, someone else does too. This will allow us to have a discussion right here on the article, and will keep everyone on the same page. So, for example, Chris may be wondering if there are new smallwares needed for this special. He can ask it right here. The publisher will be notified when questions or comments are posted so they can respond. On important articles, we recommend you click Subscribe to Comments, even if you don't intend to comment yourself. This will notify you when comments or clarifications are made to this news story. In news, you can use the View and Sort buttons to manage your news. You can look only at articles you haven't read. You can look at featured articles only. Remember, featured articles is how we'll designate the more important news items. For Houlihan's, we'll do in-store offer postings a little differently than we have in the past. Instead of posting every single week with details about each offer, we'll post one time for the month, and weekly details will be added as a link to this story as soon as they become available. News is searchable, so if you remember an article but aren't sure when you read it, just search right up here. In Jostle, we have the ability to post polls, so feel free to weigh in. On the upper left-hand side, there's a capability called a shoutout. A shoutout can be given by anyone to anyone and should be used to give kudos to an individual, restaurant, or team who did a great job. Shoutouts are visible to everyone, so shout out next time someone deserves recognition. Here, you can also post a status about what you're working on, similar to a Facebook status or a tweet. This would also be a great place to make a suggestion for things you'd like to see on Jostle. By reading statuses, you might find out that Riz has finished programming the POS for the upcoming rollout, or that your next batch of table tents are on their way. Let's move on to Library. Library is similar to the folder system we have on our current wire. One main enhancement is that you can now see thumbnail views of folder contents. This should help you to recognize frequently used documents easier. The library is searchable too. So for example, if you're looking for a CapEx form, just search it here. The search feature looks for both names of files as well as keywords within those files. Each folder in the library has assigned librarians. These are the people who are responsible for maintaining its contents. So for example, if I hover over the I can see that Susan Corp and Tracy Wilms maintain the accounting folder. If you have a question or a suggestion for how to improve the folder, you can email them directly. Do remember that the email feature will not work if you're accessing email remotely. More links you directly to important company applications. Partner and vendor websites are down here in the Websites folder, just as they've always been. Each Wednesday around midnight, you'll get an email from Jostle summarizing what's been happening on the site that week. This email will take the place of the weekly email you've been getting from The Wire on Tuesdays. This email lists the top 5 news stories along with other activity that happened on The Wire the prior week. It's important that all managers are up to date on company news, so be sure to read this email every Wednesday morning, then visit The Wire to see all the news and activity for the week. And in general, be prepared and on the lookout for future email notifications from Jostle, as the Houlihan's Wire is now powered by Jostle. So welcome again to the new site. If you have any trouble using the new Wire, please reach out to Melissa Jonas or Mandy Stone for help.